Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Journey into 1001 Comics. This is your host, Dr.Peter. Sorry for the long delay. Due to some personal reason, well, it's not really a personal reason. I just got involved in a car crash about a month and a half ago. And it's not a serious car crash. It's just like I got involved, I got injured. You know, no serious injuries or whatnot. It's just I was bruised and sore and I couldn't edit or record any videos. So this is episode 13. This is a special episode because this is going to be the first episode where I have a co-host. The co-host for this episode is my good friend, Jenrissa Michelle. Say hello, Jen.
Hi!
So, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great, Dr. D. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well.
So you took a nasty hit. Poor you.
I did. Let me introduce my friend Jen, or Jenrissa. We first met at Dawson College in a cinema course where she was reading the Battle Royale manga. And I was like, hey, I know that. yeah, I know that. And I was like, hey, we've been friends ever since. Almost, 9 years right now?
Definitely 9 years. I can't believe Battle Royale brought us together. It's nothing compared to the Hunger Games that just came out right now. Well, that's for another podcast.
That's for another topic, another show, but we're not talking about Hunger Games. No.
We can get into a debate on that one.
Another episode will probably get into the Hunger Games.
Probably.
And Battle Royale. But no, we're going to talk about a comic that came out back in 1999 from Japan. We're talking about the series called Nana by Aya... What's her last name?
Ai Yazawa.
Ai Yazawa?
Ai Yazawa.
Published by Shueisha. And also, it appears in the magazine Cookie. Yes, it's a shoujo comic, which is a girl comic.
Yes, it was serialized in Cookie. It was published by Shueisha. That's right.
Shueisha is publishing the comics, but it appeared in the Cookie magazine, which is quite weird saying Cookie as a magazine. This story of Nana...
Cookie is a Japanese shoujo manga magazine. It's published by Shueisha.
True.
So it's quite a big publication, actually. There was 175,000 of them in circulation. So, yeah, it's a funny name, but it's quite popular in Japan.
Which probably has the same circulation as Mad Magazine right now.
Maybe.
Yes. But this comic first came out back in 1999. Since then, it has sold over 40 million copies, 2 live-action movies, and an animated TV series in 2007.
Yeah, that's
2007, 2006. I'm not quite sure. Let me check. Yeah, 2006 to 2007.
Yes, and it would continue, but unfortunately the author of the manga, she's presently sick with an unknown ailment.
We'll get to that later on, but
yeah.
Jen, can you please tell us what the story of Nana is all about?
Well, in a nutshell, Nana is a coming-of-age story. It is a shoujo manga. It is destined for young girls, but I wouldn't say young. I would say teenage girls to young women. And it derives its name from the 2 main characters. There is Nana number 1, who is well known as...
Nana K?
Yes, Nana K, Nana Komatsu. And she's referred in the manga as Hachi, or a little puppy, because she acts like a puppy dog, I should say. And then there is Nana Ozaki, who is a popular punk band member in her hometown. So the story starts basically when both Nanas decide to head up to Tokyo with the dream of making their lives something different from what they've known in their hometown. The first one, Nana Komatsu, dreams of finding the ideal boyfriend and having a husband and building a love nest, versus the other Nana Ozaki, who doesn't want to live in the shadow of an ex-boyfriend who's left her a couple years back to go up to Tokyo to become a famous rock star. She herself being a singer, she goes up to Tokyo with the dreams of making it big as a singer herself. And it just so happens that on the same day, both Nanas meet each other on a train ride, and what seems like an accident turns into a weird twist of fate, and both girls become very, very close friends. And as the story progresses, their friendship only deepens. They find out things about the other, even though they have very different lifestyles, that in fact they're very similar, and they become the best of friends. So really it is a lovely coming-of-age story of friendship and love and ambition and dreams.
The story mostly focuses on the 2 Nanas, but later on we meet Nana Ozaki's main love interest, Ren, who becomes the main focus of the story. the main focus of the second half of the story.
Well, you have to say that Ai Yazawa creates tons and tons of interesting characters. I mean,
yes, there are tons of characters in this manga.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've read so many different manga and anime series, and believe me, I believe Ai Yazawa's creations, she really goes on character development. So she creates lots of interesting characters, and she doesn't leave any side characters with no backstory or plot. Every single character, big or small, has a story that you can relate to, or that she has explored. So yeah, when you were saying that Ren, who is the ex-boyfriend of Nana Ozaki, yeah, basically the story takes a different lead. It's a little hard to explain, but
well, we're going to talk about spoilers, so this is a main central spoiler of the series.
Should we go into spoilers or not?
Yes, we should go into spoilers because
I love it, spoilers.
Spoilers. If you haven't read the series, well, go read it right now before checking out this video. So, as the series progresses, we meet Nana Osaki's main love interest, Ren, and his band. Is it his band called Black Stone? Or that's
well,
Nana's?
Actually, no. I'm going to explain a little bit. Nana Ozaki was a punk singer, and she had a band back home with her boyfriend, Ren, who she met at the age of 16. And they created a punk band called Black Stones, or Blast, capital B-L-A-S-T for short. Basically, her boyfriend, Ren, is a bassist. He's not the lead guitarist, he's a bassist. And he's recruited by a very popular band that is up already in Tokyo called Trapness. Now, in Japanese, they would say Toranesu. That's in Japanese. Toranesu for Trapness. They lose their bassist, and the main leader of the band, who is actually another bassist, Takumi, he invites Ren to come up to Tokyo and be the lead guitarist. So he changes from a bassist to a guitarist when he moves up to Tokyo. Now, it's very rare, as people who are in the music industry, they know it's very, very hard to break into the music industry. So when Ren gets this golden opportunity, he makes a quick decision and makes the wrong decision, as we find out later, to leave his girlfriend back in the hometown and move up to Tokyo. And that's how you can say it's the incentive for Nana to say, listen, I want to make something more of my life, and I want to move to Tokyo and make it big as a singer myself. Mm-hmm. So this character, Ren, he's from a small provincial town. I can't quite remember the name, but it's not like glittering, glamorous Tokyo. So basically, it's a story a bit like, Michael Jackson or Amy Winehouse, very sweet, talented, young, brilliant musicians who get consumed by lives of drugs, rock and roll, punk,
sex,
city attractions, sex, everything. And they slowly lose their soul to the industry that they wanted to give their soul to. And it ultimately brings their downfall. And without giving too much away, Ren experiences all these ups and downs and regrets, fame, glory, but ultimately his demise. Yeah.
Very much demise. Well, yeah. Well, another thing we forgot to mention is that Nana K and Nana O first meet each other in the subway or a train station.
In a train, a train that's blocked because of snow.
Blocked of snow. It got delayed, and they met each other. And then they meet later on when they're both searching for this exact same apartment.
Ah, well, that's where you have to understand. We've been putting poor Hachi aside. Oh no, she's gonna kill me. Well, Hachi, Nana Komatsu, she's a really lovable, happy mascot character of the series. So she's the one that brings the comedic relief to the whole series. She's a girl who, I wouldn't call her a typical Japanese woman, but, her dream
she's more cheerful.
Yeah, well, I would say she's cheerful, but she has a dark side to her too. So, technically, one thing I love about this series is basically all the characters is not just set in stone one type of personality. The most hateable character, you'll find out there is actually some value or some good in them. So for Nana Hachi, in the beginning you see her as this lightheaded, innocent, a little bit silly pumpkin from the village. But as the series progresses, she actually has a lot, she gets her life in her hands and she progresses. So she leaves initially her small town to follow her boyfriend Shoji, who moved up to Tokyo. And To give you a good example, basically, you can maybe insert a video here. He texts her on the cell phone and he tells her, why don't you come up and join me in Tokyo? And without even thinking about it, she quits her part-time job at a video store. She grabs all her things and without letting anybody know, she just runs off to Tokyo just to meet up for love. So basically, she abandons everything out of love. And when she meets Nana Ozaki, who just broke up with Ren because he dumped her to move up to Tokyo, she just starts blabbering about how, oh, I love Shoji, and oh, Shoji loves me, and oh, we're gonna have a house together, a happy family, blah, 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 blah. So she just mouths off. So initially when the two girls first meet, it's just Hachi who's mumbling about her dream life in Tokyo. And Nana Ozaki just like sits back, kind of quiet, smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer. And yes, later on when they're both apartment hunting in Tokyo, the two girls, by coincidence, they go to real estate managers who tell them, yeah, there's this really, really nice apartment on a 7th floor, and it's very cheap. If you're two people, you can rent it out, and it's very, very cheap. Initially, they both want to take the place for themselves, but both girls arrive with their real estate agents at the exact same moment, and it becomes a battle between the two real estate agents to see who's going to get the contract. And it turns out that Hachiko's real estate manager is brilliant. He said, you girls just move in together, you'll cut the costs in half, you're both girls, maybe you can become friends. And that's what happens. They shake hands over this. There's a beautiful sequence in the anime series that shows them both agreeing to be roommates, flatmates, I should say, and you see them shaking their hands. And it's very, very touching. It's the beginning, actually, of the first story. It's you can also say the end of the first comic book, when they both decide to become flatmates. They shake hands, there's a pact, they're gonna learn a lot about each other, and for people who don't want to continue with the whole series, it kind of makes a close to both stories, but it's also the beginning of a whole lot more.
And the rue number is 707.
That's right, because 7 is in Japanese, Nana, which is the name of both of these girls. They both have the exact same name. Nana, it means 7, number 7 in Japanese. So, Nana, actually, the whole story is from the viewpoint of Hachiko, of Nana.
Yes.
So it's of Nana Komatsu. And she's a girl who really believes in fate. In Japan, there is a lot of legends about destiny, about fate, about, even for love stories, when two people are destined to be together, they say that they have a red thread that is between their two pinky fingers.
The red string of fate.
Destiny. That's right. So this Nana Komatsu, she's a little bit silly, innocent, lightheaded. By the way, I should mention, they're both 20 when they move up to Tokyo.
So they're not really girls.
Well, in Japan, when you become an adult, it's the official age of majority is 20. So these girls have just become adults. So they're leaving behind their childish side in childhood, and they're adventuring into the world of adulthood. So it's a coming-of-age story, as I said. In the beginning, you can tell that both of them are not mature. The one that seems calm, cool, and collected, Nana Ozaki, as the series progresses, she starts losing track of herself. Versus Nana Komatsu, who in the beginning has no sense of orientation, where she's going, what she wants in life. As the series progresses, you see a change in her. She becomes more mature. She grabs a good sense of herself. But in the beginning, she's really lightheaded, and she believes in fate. So when she meets this Nana Ozaki, and they're both 20, they're both going up to Tokyo, they land up in an apartment, in the same apartment, and it has 707, which represents their names. She just believes in fate. And the whole series, even in the beginning of the anime sequence, the very first thing that she says is, oh, I've always believed in fate. And this is what brought us together.
True. Now, both their boyfriends or lovers play a big, big part towards a certain death, as we say. Would you like to dive into this story arc?
Well, okay.
Not really a story. Okay, I'm going to be blunt. We have a main death towards, I'm guessing, volume 18 or 19 of the manga, which involves Ren, who's being chased by the paparazzi. And part of the paparazzi is Nana K's lover, He was a member of the Papa Rock.
No, actually, I think you are mistaken.
Oh, that's another person.
You're giving away a big spoiler. That's really far into the manga.
That's really far, I know.
Really far. Well, okay, spoilers aside now. Well, the story revolves mainly around the two bands. Once you've passed the arc where the two Nanas move in together in the apartment, you start seeing the friends of Nana Hachiko, who are on the side. One of them runs a bar, and in Japan, usually people have conversations around beer in a bar. So in a izakaya. Izakaya is where people just go for light snacks and for drinks. And basically, technically the boyfriend that Nana Hachi moves up to Tokyo for, he leaves her. He cheats on her eventually. So her friends center around the story of her boyfriend cheating on her and talking about the past. They serve as a reminder of things in the past, and they're also kind of there to see what's happening with the success of Nana Ozaki, who's part of Blackstones, the band that she's still keeping in Tokyo. So there are four or five characters on Hachiko's side, who are her old friends from the past, and on Nana of Blackstones, Nana Ozaki, there are, of course, the new band members that her boyfriend Ren joined. So there's Takumi, who's the lead guitarist. He's the leader of the band. He has a dual godlike savior and evil Knievel personality. There is Reira or Leila from the Eric Clapton song, Leila. Basically, she's also like a diva. She's seen as an angel with a pure voice, a gorgeous diva with long flowing hair and dresses, and she really displays a diva-like character, like think Paris Hilton.
And she looks like a doll also.
She looks like a porcelain doll, and she's mixed. She's half Japanese, half American. So she's a mix, and in Japan they're a little racist sometimes towards people of mixed blood or different heritage.
Just a little, Jen. Just a little.
A little. So basically, as she grew up, she and Takumi are best friends since they're very young. She harbors a secret love for Takumi, but Takumi never reciprocates because he sees her as a little sister. And then there's the other band member called Naoki. Naoki, they call him the glitter boy Naoki. He bleached his hair blonde when he was a kid. He was a school punk rebel. He's not the most important member of Trapnest, but he has a fan base. He has a fan base.
Oh, female fan base.
Yeah, female fan base. So those four members, including Ren, they tend to intermingle often with Nana, because Nana Ozaki forms her own band up in Tokyo. Her other childhood friend, whose name is Nobu Takashima, who is the son of a very rich ryokan, or hotel owner, he leaves his family to come up to Tokyo and follow Nana to help her in her band, her quest to become famous. There is also another member who is called Yasushi, who is a bald, sunglass-wearing drummer. Yes, that's right. He's the drummer, and he's the leader of the band.
A.K.A. Mr. Clean.
That's right, Mr. Clean. And Yasu, he acts like the father figure that holds Nana Ozaki's band together. So, contrary to popular belief, in Trapnest, Takumi, who is the bassist, he's the leader of the band. He rules his teammates with an iron fist, thus the name Trapped Nest. All of his players in the band, Reira, Takumi, Ren, and Naoki, are all birds who are trapped in a nest. Mostly Reira, who's the singer who feels that she has nothing else in life for her but song, and if it's not for song, she has nothing to live for. And at the same time, Blast, Nana Ozaki's band, which is Yasu, Nana, Nobu, and another member which I haven't mentioned yet, Shin. These four are part of the band called Blackstones, which is the brand of a very popular cigar in Japan, a cigarillo, Blackstone cherries in Japan.
Have you smoked them?
No, I don't smoke. But I have seen them in Japan. They're very popular. They're like cigarillos. They're not quite cigarettes. They're cigarillos. And they smell like cherries. And they named their band Blast. And Yasu, who's the eldest, and he's also a lawyer. That's something very amazing. For a punk band, he looks like a punk. He looks like Mr. Clean. And yet he is a lawyer. And he works for a law firm. And he leaves his law firm in the small hometown to come up to Tokyo and encourage Nana to do their band. Now the thing is, since Ren used to be their bassist, they need to find a replacement. So they hold auditions, and thus, this is where the other Nana, who's the flatmate of Nana Ozaki, comes in handy. She passes flyers out where all the part-time jobs she's working, and she's saying, we need a new bassist for the band. And they find Shin. Now Shin, he's this very adorable, cute, young boy. And
Moe.
Moe. Definitely Moe. And he joins the Blackstones group, and he's extremely young. He's underage. He's very, very young. So if I can remember how old...
Is he like 15?
I think he's 15 or 14. He's just very young. Either way, he's underage. So technically he's not supposed to smoke or vote or have sex or take drugs, anything basically. Taking drugs is illegal, technically.
Yeah.
So they form Blackstones, the band. So yeah, basically it's a rivalry between the two bands, between Blast and Trapness. And the rest of the story follows how Blackstones is trying to gain in popularity, how they get recruited by famous producers, and how Trapness, who's already enjoying a fruitful success, is in constant competition and is being thrown versus Blackstones. And things get even more complicated when the paparazzi comes in and start trying to figure out all the evil backstories of the love relationships and the past of all of the main characters. The ones who are most hit is Shin, the little 15-year-old. Nana, because she and Ren have a blossoming new relationship again, and it's a love-hate relationship. There's Takumi, who kind of starts having an affair with Nana Komatsu, Hachi, and it's something that's kept secret, and there's a pregnancy that involved that comes about, and that creates a scandal. And also for I would say for Nana from Blackstones, the whole history of her past when she was living back home in her hometown, about how she was abandoned by her mother, and there's a whole vast array of new characters that come in at this point.
It's pretty much high drama and throw in some tragedy mixed in as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Halfway through the story, we got a disjointment in the story where we cut back and forth between the past, the present, and the future.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm guessing this is due to all the health scares that Aya suffered through, because the story keeps on cutting back, explaining certain things that happen, like what happened to Ren. They don't mention what happens to Ren until they get to the main issue. And it gets a bit weird, because if you missed a chapter or two, or you don't read or miss the volume or two of the manga, you might get confused towards like the later half of the series.
Well, it's not, I would say it's more like in the anime series they have filler episodes, but I would say it's just because everybody really loves each of the characters. As you read this manga series, you really feel an affinity and you start to understand each of the characters, their good and bad sides. So I guess it's from readers' request. They want to get the backstories of the childhood of all of the members of Blast and of Trapness. So in fact, I don't find it that you get lost by reading them. It just gives you a better comprehension. Most people who read Nana won't just pick up a random volume and start reading it. They would actually follow the entire series. So it really gives you essential information or a better understanding of each of the characters' past. I find them actually very important to the story. And if you're referring to some backflashes, it's because later on in the series, due, as you already mentioned, to a serious thing that happens to Ren, his girlfriend, Nana Ozaki, has a mental breakdown and literally goes missing.
Yes.
So she quits the music industry, she changes her look, she changes her name, changes country, goes abroad to England, and she leaves everybody in the dark. And basically all of her friends are looking for her. So the author starts having some flashes towards the future where you see a few years later, everyone has grown up, people who had kids, their kids grew up, and they're still looking for Nana, who they believe is still alive somewhere out there, but she hasn't given news to anybody. So basically, it's a strong message to say at the same time that they are true friends, and regardless of the bad things that happen or lack of information, they will never give up, especially both Nanas. Hachiko is determined. She even puts her relationship, her marriage in jeopardy to be able to find her best friend. So it really shows how determined people are to keep the connections that they have between their friends, which you find very, very touching.
So let's not skip around this main spoiler. Let's talk about what happens to Ren. So, Jen, would you like to...
He has a car crash. Basically, Ren is at a point in his life where he's hooked on drugs, is thinking of quitting Trapnest because he knows his girlfriend, Nana Ozaki, is unhappy with him being in Trapnest. Nana Ozaki, her main problem is that she's possessive. As you learn through the series, she's lost everything. She's lost both her parents. Her own mother abandoned her when she was a 5-6-year-old to her grandmother. Her grandmother didn't treat her well. She never owned anything proper in life. So she's a girl who suffered abandonment issues. And when her boyfriend, who she met at 16, her very first boyfriend, decides to leave her for Tokyo, she feels abandoned once again. And throughout the whole story, every time Nana feels that something's going to leave her, she falls into panic mode. She feels that things are always escaping her grasp.
She's drowning in a cup of water.
Basically, yes. She's trying to find anything that she can have to cling on to keep for herself. And the one thing that she feels really likes her is Hachiko, Nana, the puppy dog. And even Hachiko at some point falls in love with somebody and goes and lives with Takumi, actually. Let's go and reveal all the spoilers.
Yeah.
She basically starts a romantic relation with Takumi. And Nana doesn't like Takumi because he stole Ren away from her. So she holds a grudge against Trapnest. She holds a grudge against Reira, who's the lead singer of Trapnest, because she believes that Ren prefers to play music for Reira's voice versus her own voice. She feels betrayed. So she and Ren have a rocky romantic relationship. They need each other. They are meant for each other. They love each other, but she's very possessive. And Ren is suffering very badly because of that. So at some point he decides the only way he can settle is to ask Nana to marry him. So on her 21st birthday, if I'm not mistaken, he is driving in a snowstorm to go and celebrate Nana's birthday. But the paparazzis are hot on his tail because they're all caught up. In fact, the careers of Blas was propelled because the paparazzis found out that Nana and Ren used to be ex-lovers. So that's how Blas' career got started. So the paparazzis have been hot on their tails since a long, long, long time. And basically the paparazzis are following Ren in the snowstorm and they want to know what he's doing, where he's going. Also, you can say that Reira, who is really in love with Takumi, is having also a mental breakdown on her side. From one side, she believes that Takumi is holding her like a captive, like a bird in a cage, thus Trapnest. In another way, she's furious because Takumi has gotten married to Hachiko. So she decides to run away, and also to help Ren. For several reasons, she runs away. And Ren decides to make a short trip to go and search for Reira before going to see Nana. And the paparazzis are trying to figure out what's going on between Reira and Ren. And since they're speeding so much, and Ren is trying to get as quick as he can away from them, he smashes into a wall and thus loses his battle. He loses his life.
He tried to protect his hands during the crash.
Yeah, he protects his hands. Those are the only things which are left unscathed.
Yeah.
And basically, from that point on, Nana Ozaki, who was full of pride and always telling herself, oh, everybody owes everything to me, she suffers a mental breakdown and she technically runs away. Now, Nana Hachiko, who's the best friend of Nana, who sees this progression, she cannot give up on her friend, and she's so sad to see her depressed, so her marriage with Takumi, which is an up and down relationship, I should mention, suffers, and she kind of puts her husband aside to go in search of Nana. And the other characters, too, have their own side stories. I mean, there is Nobu, who is also in love with Hachiko, but of course he steps aside when Nana becomes pregnant with Takumi's child, and Takumi, proposes to Nana and they get married. Nobu finds himself a girlfriend on the side, and it creates a whole scandal because she's a porn star.
Yeah, this is...
Yep. And Shin, now this is another story, the little 15-year-old Shin, he tries to act very mature and adult. And in fact, he's a lot like Nana Ozaki, who was abandoned at a very young age, had horrible parents. He falls into a relationship with a much older woman who kind of uses him as a Johnny boy, as a young, basically a young male escort. And it turns out that this older woman called Ryoko looks exactly the same as Layla. And Shin starts another relationship with Layla. But since Layla is 26 years old and Shin's only 15, there is several years difference between them, and that's illegal in Japan. So Takumi, who's very protective of Reira, tells Shin to abandon this relationship and wait until he's old enough to be able to legally date Reira. And, some of the other characters, they're experiencing a lot of problems. Ren, he falls into drugs, cocaine, actually. And, Reira, who's very close to Ren, because Ren's the only one who understands how Takumi has a grip on her. She tries to protect him and tries to make him quit using drugs. And the other characters, which I haven't mentioned, there is Yasu. Yasu, he also starts having a relationship with a very mature woman called Miu, but it's a very good and stable relationship. I think out of all of the characters is the one relationship which is really stable and good, quite honestly.
There's tons of more characters that appear later on in this manga. There's so many characters, it's
really confusing when you think about it.
It's like, I'll probably find like a relationship chart and I'll probably post it in this video somewhere.
Yep. But what is really enticing is that you see all through the ups and downs and the tribulations and trials, all of the characters, they never give up. None of the characters, they give up. They all have dreams. They all have wishes. A lot of them encounters lots of obstacles, but throughout the whole series, you see that they all grow. They mature. The one who matures and grows the most is Nana Hachiko. She goes from a silly, twitty country girl to trying to get a job and settle herself down. She tries to find a proper relationship, not very successful. Then she finds Takumi, who is not really faithful to her most of the time. But either way, he offers her a place to stay, security, financial security, and he eventually marries her. And it turns out later on in the series that you find out that Takumi actually really falls in love with her, and it really is in love with her. So I guess they all evolve. Even Takumi matures after a while. Shin also, after a run-in with the cops because he was doing escort services, and also he was caught using drugs. He gets thrown in jail for a couple of days. He makes Blast miss their opening performance, and he really feels bad about it. And you can see that he also changes his life around, and he becomes an actor. He starts being serious. He cleans up his act, and he becomes somebody with a purpose in his life. Yasu and Miu, they basically are a very mature couple with a stable relationship. I would say Reira is the one who is still unstable. She remains unstable after Ren's death. She believes it's her fault because she ran away and Ren was coming after her. So she blames herself for Ren's death, and she kind of remains crazy. She loses her sanity. Takumi, who sees Reira as a little sister, doesn't want to abandon her and takes care of her, but he's depressed because his wife Nana is looking for Nana Ozaki somewhere in England. They have some children together, so he's trying to raise his son. Nana is raising their daughter. Other characters. On Nana Hachiko's side, she has a best friend from her hometown called Junko. Junko is an artist, a very popular artist as the series progresses, and her boyfriend also is an artist. So that's another stable relationship in the whole comic series. So I don't know, when you read it, it's just that there's so many different intricacies and all the character development and a lot of subplots. It just makes it really interesting, and the author really pays attention to details. Some of her fans will even notice, oh, in this picture you forgot to give one of the earrings to one of the characters. And the author said, yes, you're so right. There's exactly 5 earrings on one side, 3 earrings on the other. So the author really pays attention to the details. That's what I like about this series. The characters change his clothes every day. If they forget to comb their hair in the morning, their hair stays uncombed the whole day.
Pretty much the anti-Dragon Ball.
Yeah, pretty much. Ai Yazawa really pays attention to love dramas, also to fashion, because her other series, Gokinkyo Monogatari or Paradise Kiss, were heavily fashion-oriented. And she retains her style throughout Nana. Her series progress. When you read all of her previous series, they really progress, and the characters from one often appears in a future series. So her previous series that she wrote was Paradise Kiss, which was 4 books, a very, very, very good manga. I highly recommend it. The characters from Paradise Kiss often appear in the extra chapters at the end of the Nana series, because Hachiko's friend, the painter, Junko, opens another izakaya, like a bar. And at the end of each of the manga books, there is a small 4 or 5 page update episodes, and characters from previous mangas make appearances and comebacks, and they interact with the characters of the Nana series. It's really fun.
Yeah, the story is massive characters. It's very interconnected. The story is just very deep, both in characters and structure.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think volume 19 and 20, they were the 5th highest selling manga books of 2008.
Yeah.
So it really received a high acclaim. Lots of women around the world love reading Nana. 22 million copies for the first 12 series of the volumes. That's quite a lot. And it won the Shokukugan Manga Award for shoujo, actually. Which is
best shoujo of that year.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the artwork itself. Ai Yazawa's artwork, it reminds me a lot of Oda, the creator of One Piece, where the characters look like either like doll-like or very plastic-like in their skin tone.
I wouldn't agree with that. Actually, I think she gives a lot of definition to the characters. When you look at her page spreads or you look at the covers, they're quite nice. She has an illustration book, and in the illustration book, the characters are... they're very detailed. I wouldn't say they're that plastic. I've seen One Piece. And
basically, like skin tone, they're plastic, not like... You see the detail in their clothing, in their makeup, in their clothing, but if you look at their face structure, it's more like a doll-like, or very plastic.
Sure, it definitely stems from shoujo. It definitely stems from shoujo, which includes big eyes, flowy hair, colorful dresses, flowers, details, for sure. I mean, when it comes to details, you cannot get more detailed than Ai Yazawa's work. She really goes into photorealistic backgrounds and locations for the band practices or when they give concerts.
And she uses a lot of like some photo references in her backgrounds also.
Yes, she uses a lot of photo references. I mean, she's extremely talented. What can I say? As a mangaka, of course, she works with a huge team. I'm pretty sure she has a huge team of mangaka workers with her. But I mean, you have to admit that she's quite talented at illustration. Even her first graphic novel, I mean, you see a progression of the style. As the series progresses, the drawings are a little bit simplified. Or not simplified, it's more standardized, I should say. In the beginning, each of the characters had a more roundish appeal, but as the series progressed, the characters seem to be getting taller, skinnier.
And she gets more money also.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. But we have to update on Ai Yazawa's health. She's been suffering a lot of health setbacks in the past, I'm guessing, 4 or 5 years.
People in the fan community, they say that it's probably from either a cancer or a heart ailment, but there is no definite reason what's keeping Ai Yazawa from doing her work. Many people think it's work over stress from work, that she had a burnout, actually, a severe burnout. Because from updates, if you look on Wikipedia or if you look from the fandom sites, they all say that she will not be returning to the series, so the series will never be completed. Which is very sad, because
we don't know if there's going to be a completion to the series, or she'll come back whenever she feels ready, or fully charged.
Right, well, as far as we know, she's still a very young mangaka. She's not that old in terms age-wise, so it's not a question of, she's going to pass away of old age or anything. It's more a physical ailment or maybe a mental ailment. As Nana progresses, you see that the story is becoming progressively darker and darker and darker and darker. There's a lot of things that take place. There's more and more drug abuse. There's more depression. The characters, some of them, they literally fall on the borders of insanity. So maybe that is a reflection of what's going on in the mangaka's life. As they say, art usually reflects the mental train of thought of the author. Maybe that could be an indication that not all is well in Ai Yazawa's head.
No, maybe not. She hasn't done a new chapter in over 2 years also.
Yeah, she has been sick, but of course we all, in the fan community, we all pray for a swift recovery, because I am pretty sure I can say that everyone who's read the series has loved it, pretty much. There aren't that many people who's read the series and who has been left unaffected by it. I wouldn't say everyone loved the series, but I would say no one has been left unaffected. Mm-hmm. It leaves some trace, whether you like it or not. It was one of those books, those series that I would say is, it hits you very strongly. And it's something that you would find yourself, if you were ever to purchase it, I strongly suggest purchasing it. It's one of those stories that you find yourself repetitively going back to previous volumes to try and re-understand the train of thought of a character. And I have to say the translations, I have some of the English books and I have some of the French mangas. I initially read the series in French, and it's very, the translation is well done.
Yes.
It's very similar to the original Japanese translation.
Yeah, because we live in Montreal, Quebec, so we have the pleasure of having both the French mangas from France ported here, and also the stuff from Viz Media released here in North America also. So we have best of both worlds of English and French manga.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is there anything you would like to make a final statement about the Nana series before we end this episode, Jen?
Well, I can say that what I find interesting about the Nana franchise is that they've released 2 movies, and they've released a live, 2 live movies, and they've released an anime series. Also, they released a couple CDs that, the CDs basically are a list of songs that are
based on the manga,
inspired by Blast, Blackstones, and Trapness. I've listened to the songs. I have to admit they are quite different from what I had imagined. A lot of the songs from Trapness, I don't visualize Trapness as being such rock, fast-paced music. They have some softer songs, but I visualized it more as a ballad, like ballad rock.
Like X-Japan?
Yeah, or like Queen or X-Japan. Something a little bit more ballad story-oriented, but it's very rockish. I didn't quite feel close to the songs. Blackstones, I like a little bit better. It seems more punk, like Sex Pistols style. I have to say that Blast and Trapness are very heavily influenced by English punk. So Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols, it's heavily influencing the fashion style and the music sense of both bands. Mm-hmm. That's why Nana eventually runs away to London, honestly.
That's could be one of the reasons.
Yeah, fashion-wise, I have to say that Vivienne Westwood, which is a very famous high couture designer, but she has a lot of eclectic styles, punkish with crosses and a whole bunch of accessories are being used that are themed off Vivienne Westwood. And she's another British designer. So it's heavily influenced by British culture. The songs from Blackstones that are inspired by them, I think it's okay. Not as bad as Trapness. Now, when it comes to the 2 live-action movies, they changed the cast for the second movie.
Somehow. The first movie, I would say I like the casting better than the second. But a lot of people will beg to differ, I know. I think they used Ryu Matsuda as Ren, who is a famous Japanese actor. He acted in Blue Spring. He's the son of another very famous actor. The first movie starred Mika Nakashima, who was featuring as the punk star Nana Ozaki. And Mika Nakashima, she is also a very famous punk rock ballad singer in Japan. She's quite pretty, and I think she's well casted for Nana Ozaki. As for Hachiko Nana Komatsu, they cast Aoi Miyazaki, who is I don't really know her actually. I think she acted in Kamikaze Girls. She was the Gothic Lolita, I'm pretty sure. And the second Nana movie, they changed Nana Komatsu, and they said that the new actress would portray the character of Hachiko in a lighter manner. I don't really agree. I still prefer Aoi Miyazaki, but that's just me. That's just you. Along the way, they also released 2 video games, one on the PS2 and one on the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, they're dating video games apparently.
Oh my god!
I've never played them. I have seen them in Japan. I know.
Do you have a PS2?
I still have my PS2. I'm looking to get a PS3. I know I want one very soon. But, no, it's a PS2 game. It's a dating game. It's one of those typical Japanese dating games where you are playing the role of one of the specially created characters by Ai Yazawa for the video games, and you're trying to find romance with some of the band members.
Yes.
I don't know. I have never played it. But I've heard it was popular in Japan because, as I said, Nana is a very popular franchise over there in Japan.
Appealing to its mass female audience.
Definitely. There's lots of cute male band members and cute female band members. And it touches all styles. Visual Kei, Gothic Lolita, urban punk, urban chic. bohemian, even businessman.
Even businessman, yes, that 50-year-old businessman's reading Nana somehow.
There you go, salaryman.
Salaryman to the rescue.
Exactly, so there are many different styles. It's a highly fashion, action-packed, high-style, high-romance manga series.
High drama also.
Definitely high drama.
So what we're saying, in short, is check out this series. It's worth every penny. I think the hiatus of the manga series is kind of a downer because you want to know what's going to happen next to these characters' lives. But I think everyone should go out, check out this manga series. It's available in North America through Viz Media. You can also get the 2 live-action films and the animated series through Viz Media. So, in all, it's a great series.
Yes, basically the manga and the film ending is not the actual end of the manga series.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. So Nana is an ongoing story, and we hope, and I am sure I'm speaking for everybody who are fans of Nana, that the series will finally find some sort of ending or unfolding. We hope Ai Yazawa will regain her health, for sure.
In any medium. We don't care if it's an animated series or probably they do like another Nana live-action movie where they end off the series somehow or some way.
I don't think that's going to be possible because I think Ai Yazawa is a really unique mangaka and her style is very definite. So it's not like some other series where they can easily pass the direction on to another director who can easily finish off a series. It's more, she has a very unique style that's highly centered on fashion, and it's in the details that she puts in her work. So I don't think there are that many other directors who can live up to it. I mean, if you were to think about a possible discussion, to put on a discussion board here, if there wasn't to be another mangaka who could finish this series, who would it be? Because they really have to have a love for fashion, a love for drama, for romance, and for English culture, basically.
Oh, they can get the manga artists from Honey and Clover or Emma to do it.
I don't really agree.
You don't really agree?
Oh, I don't really agree. Well, my closing thoughts to the whole Nana franchise. As Nana Hachiko says, she believes in fate. I believe it was fate when I first picked up my first copy of Nana. I bought it in a bookstore in Montreal. It was the only manga series that the whole bookstore held. Believe it or not. It was a French bookstore, and it caught my eye, and I was like, oh, Nana. I knew in French, Nana means female, and the title caught my attention, and I think it was fate when I picked up that first volume. I've picked it up, and I've never put it down since. I've loved it since the first minute I've read it. I've been a devoted fan of the series. The live-action films, the anime series, not as much as the manga books. I'm a purist. I like to read manga books. And, yeah, I would just have to say I'm a big fan of Nana. When I went to Japan, I saw it there, and my heart jumped, it leaped, it pounded when I saw the Nana fandom that was in Japan and in Canada.
And did you pick up any Nana merchandise while in Japan?
Merchandise, I picked up a poster. I picked up some original Japanese manga books. A limited edition illustration book. Merchandise, not so much. I'm not really a merchandise person, but there's a vast array of Nana merchandise. I was very lucky when I went in 2005 to Japan. There was a special exhibition near Shibuya. Actually, no, it was in Harajuku. Sorry, the fashion center. It was in a museum. There was a huge "I Love Nana." It was called "Love for Nana" exhibition, and it showed you all of the props and sets that were used for the 2 live-action movies. And I had a ball taking pictures of all the different costumes and the sets. They even had a recreation of the room of the apartment 707, where the table where you can put a picture of this. It's quite interesting. The table where both Nanas sit and drink from their little strawberry cups.
Yes.
So they recreated the room and the entire sets of the movie, and it was just fascinating to see everything that I've read in black and white in the comics come to life on a big scale. And you really felt that you have love for Nana. Wherever you go, whoever has read the series just loves Nana.
Such great words, Jen. So that's all the time we have for today's episode. Don't forget to check out the Comic Book Nerds Are Hot website. Follow us on Twitter. And like and join the group on Facebook. How can people contact you or reach you, Jen?
They can just contact me by looking through Google Jenrissa Michelle.
But you also have a Twitter account.
Oh, I don't usually go on Twitter, though.
Alright. So do you have any last words before we close off this episode?
Just love for Nana. That's it. I steady yo, Nana.
That's great. So, anyways, that's all the time we have for this episode. Don't worry, I'll be working on another episode soon, guys. So, anyways, stay safe, and see you in the next episode of Journey into 1001 Comics. Bye.
Arigato.